and we're looking around, and we're talking about the whole universe. We're going to analyze the universe. We want to know what's out there. We want to know, you know, what's in the next state, next country, in the world, the stars, the moon, the galaxies, everything, right? Now, to make judgments on that, sitting here, will be very hard for us because we've got a very vivid and very limited vision of what's happening around us, right? So if we made a judgment in accordance to the whole universe, but only knowing this little system or this little room that we're in, we wouldn't be able to make the right judgment. That's why sometimes people that, you know, that think that they're very compassionate, they start to misjudge what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's actions are, because they don't have the wisdom of Allah to know why Allah does certain things. And people ask themselves, you know, certain questions. Oh, why did Allah do this? If it was me, I'd do it this way, as though they are more merciful, more compassionate, more loving, more thoughtful, and more intelligent or more wiser than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hasha. But like I said, we only see it like that, narrow. But when you look at it from the universal picture, from above, looking at stars and the moon, the galaxies, the angels and jinn and mankind, and how everything operates together, then it's like saying this, right? If we say, oh, we don't think it should be like this, right? If we make a judgment against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means we are looking beyond. Like, for example, Allah's made a judgment in accordance to the whole plan of things, right? According to what we call his master plan. But us, when we say, oh, this, it shouldn't be like this particular matter, right? Let's say one specific matter, we look at it and we go, oh, you know, drinking shouldn't be haram. Simple thing, right? Drinking shouldn't be haram. What did Allah make it haram for? It's like saying that Allah's masterpiece, that He's got this whole vision and His wisdom and knowledge and power and everything that He encompasses. You encompass all of those abilities and beyond that, and you look at Allah down on everything else, and you're making judgment on His wisdom and His power and His resolution of things and how He plans and how He does everything together. Hasha. So it's very important that we don't misjudge
and question Sharia.
We don't question Sharia, obviously, like the system in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does everything. We can question benefits, we can question wisdom behind things and that, but to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's choice,
not so much question, but to
we
deny.
question His choice. Oppose it, more really oppose it, to oppose it, as though it's not good enough. Then you're saying that you are greater than Allah in making that particular decision. Because when one decision is being made, it's being made in accordance to every other plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. So His servant does not have the right or the power to test Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, if I do this, then you will do this. I will do this haram and you will forgive me because you are forgiving God. I am a forgiving God through my own choice, Allah says. You cannot make me a forgiving God, hasha. It's like saying this, right? Johnny is very generous, okay? But Riaz is saying, give me money, right? Through his choice, he gives, you know, $100 to this guy, $500 to him, and he spreads all his money around the room, right? And Riaz goes and says, give me $500. Tries to snatch it off him, and he goes, hey, calm down, mate. I give it through my generosity. But he says, but you're a generous one. Yes, I'm generous to whom I wish to be generous to. I won't have you stand over me and tell me what I should and should not give you. For example, right? In everything, our du'as that we do, you know, oh Allah, give me $1 million, and then we go, oh, I prayed for 2 weeks, God didn't give me $2 million or $10 million, whatever. You know what I mean? We start to curse His vision or something. Allah is generous, and He allocates His generosity how He wills. Allah is all wise, and He gives in His generosity and in everything that He has, and according to how He wants to do everything. Yes, you can ask, and sometimes He will grant you what you wish, or sometimes He grants better than what you want, because you're so vivid, your imagination and your requests and your wants are so narrow that you don't see it. Imagine, right, let's say, right, we put up our hand and say, oh Allah, give me $10 billion. And Allah says, okay, look, your wish, and this has happened in history at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but your wish is very dangerous for you, because if I give you this, you're going to actually lose it. You're going to do every haram under the sun, You're going to think you're so powerful and that you're going to forget me altogether, and you're not going to do the things which I demand of you, and you're going to oppose all of my rules and regulations, and you're going to think that you're like a god. So I know the story behind this desire of yours, and I choose for you to go into paradise and for you to have the best of everything. So I'm not going to give you what you desire, but you know what? I'm going to give you something a billion times better. I'm going to reserve this, what you want, as a package that's not open yet, and I'm going to open this package and then give it to you in a more blessed, more beautiful manner forever in paradise. So people are going to be coming in Jannah. They're going to be saying, "Oh Allah, what did I do? Where did all this come from? I didn't deserve any of this." People are going to be astonished. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to say, "That's for the du'as. Remember you asked for this simple thing in the world, and I didn't answer that prayer for you there. This is the answer of your prayers here right now." And they go, "Allah, if I only knew," people are going to say to themselves, "If I only knew, I wish none of my prayers that I wanted for worldly things ever existed so I can have it here. Look what I've got now." Allahu Akbar. So you leave it to the wisdom and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was actually one of the Sahabas comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he pesters him, he says, "Ya Rasulullah, please." And this person, he was like, as they say, he was every morning prayer, the first person, first line. Afternoon prayer, night prayer, every time he's number one. You know, he's at prayer all the time, and he's very virtuous in that. He comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, starts to pester him, "Ya Rasulullah, please pray to Allah that He makes me rich. I want to be rich." And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, it might not be beneficial for you. He says, "Don't worry about it." So he leaves him. He comes again, "Please, Ya Rasulullah, I want it." He says, "But it might not be beneficial for you. Please." He keeps on pestering him. And one day, he says, "Alright then." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam picks up his hand and says, "Ya Allah, make this person," I forget his name. Anyway, make this particular Sahaba rich then, how he ever desires. Amen. As soon as he says Amen, bang, the prayer is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he starts to own things. He gets 1 or 2 sheep, the 2 sheep become 4 and 5, and then he starts to own camels, which was, you know, like limousines today. And so he's got everything starting to, like, his production of all these animals start to grow and grow. It becomes so big, his products or his wealth becomes so huge, because he's got like hundreds of camels and hundreds of sheep and hundreds of other cattle, right? So he has to actually migrate out of Mecca away somewhere else, because he's got too much. The land can't support his animals. So he starts to move away. He starts to come less to the prayers, obviously, because he's too busy looking after his animals, and less, and then it comes a time where he actually doesn't come to prayer at all. And this person is at his deathbed, and the Sahaba come to him, obviously concerned, and they say, because you know there's a hadith that says, you know, remind the people when they're dying to say La ilaha illallah, remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Prophet is the messenger of Allah. So they go there and they go to him, you know, say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah, try to remind him, and says, "What are you talking about? Where's the sheep? Where's the lamb? Where's this? Get the cattle, bring it here." And he dies. And now people, scholars say, you know, we don't know whether he died with Iman or without Iman, but it wasn't a very good example of what happened to him. And he didn't want to stop, he got so greedy, he didn't want to give zakat, and all these other things happened. So now in his life he's thinking, okay, I'm getting stronger, more powerful, I'm gaining wealth, but what happened with his wealth and that? All he did was he got so absorbed in himself, he forgot Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala altogether. To assume such a manner, in other words, to test Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as though subjecting Allah Almighty's dominicality to testing and examination is bad conduct, and it is contrary to worship, and man being Allah's slave. We are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's slaves. In